Okay, hopefully this is a little bit better, guys. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Hello, this is Unapologetically Marinike. What's good, lovers and friends? Wow, so I'm getting a lot of energy, messages, channelings, vibrations. I was putting on a workshop uh, at the end of last year, 2019, in December, and just leading a pack of amazing women in a conference that I hosted. And let me make sure this is that I'm comfortable. Um, and I think something's going on with my other piece of technology, so hopefully this will work. Again, there's still a glare, so I'll take the glasses off and we'll just chat. Um, okay, so what's going on with you, Mren? Well, I'm getting a lot of, again, messages. So when the time was leading up to 2020, I started getting the message that it was going to start off kind of as a huge mess. We were going to kind of be feeling like we don't really know what's happening. It feels like a colossal mess. That was the energy that I was picking up for 2020. It's so cold here, like, it's dry. So I was feeling like it was going to be a colossal mess. And I feel like I shared this only with the smaller group of people that I was working with. That it feels like maybe even you're being asked to leave your space. Maybe you're being asked to elevate. A lot of the words I was hearing was to move, 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 move. You're where you're at is a place that is too small. And I started seeing and getting messages about giants, that it's time to really focus in and start learning about people who are considered giants in society. Michael Jordan. I don't know what is happening, y'all. Give me a minute. Nelson Mandela. Giants. Just study giants and Mother Teresa. Now is a time where we are being asked to lead by example. So, before we even get into 2020, let's even address the holidays. So, today is the 16th. We're 2 weeks and 2 days into the new year. Punching! You guys, we made it. We made it. That's all I can say. We made it. Like, it was rough. Okay, so a lot of people had breakdowns, time alone, isolation. Not as many people were online. And when we are upgrading ourselves and spirits for change, and we're stuck in a third dimensional world or this plane, and our souls are moving and advancing at a different rate, a lot of times it feels like shedding old skin. Not even old skin, sometimes we just don't know what is going on. It's like sometimes it can manifest itself into feeling like families and not feeling very close to the families, or feeling like you're growing and not being like in sync with the family. It's a venture. Honestly, it's like there's so many changes that it really does feel disastrous. And all I can say and recommend is that we hold tight, because I made a video about shadow work and I haven't posted it. I haven't found myself in a position where the message could be shared. My guides told me to hold on to it. And so what I'm seeing now, a lot of recurring themes of moving to get out of your space, either spiritual space, mental space, communicative space, or your physical space. So you will know which situation is for you when you keep receiving the same message through different people. So as it related to me, my message was through the book of Ruth. And this was like incredible book through Ruth and the 7 steps of a breakthrough, which I also released. And that's to know where you're going. When you feel like you are too big for a place, or the place is too small for you, it's just knowing where you're going, keeping quiet, not looking like you came from where you came from, changing your dress, being quiet until you're talked to, and then not stealing the light, but when it comes on you, feeling free to shine. But knowing that, a lot of things have to be put in place, and in order to advance into a new space, you're going to have to do a lot of shedding. So that was the next piece is the word maturity just kept coming up. I mean, honestly, through so many channels, through people I'd worked with, through people like support group, and I talk about these people as I use Charlie Gilkey's start finishing. Again, there's 4 types of people. Supporters, this is a group of people that when you ask for specific deadlines for, you could even pay them for a service. These are your support groups. Hey, an editor, whatever. This is my chief energy, where I pay them and like they provide me with a service. With my supporters, I found that even they were having issues kind of communicating in where I was communicating with them, that as opposed to even taking responsibility, just, I'm sorry you feel that way. You guys, that was one thing. And another was having a conversation with a friend. And it's okay that we have some kind of kinks and like log jams. And I don't even want to say log jams, but just understanding that when there is communication, before people argue because they're wanting to get across certain values, and when it's only seen as an argument, and the person like you're sharing this with, you're quietly listening, not hearing, but just allowing them to have this space and listening. What are we actually communicating about? But when the person that you're communicating with only seems to hear their side, and you're validating what they've said, and you're acknowledging, wow, okay, let me take full ownership, that could not have been cool or whatever, and then saying, what I'm understanding is like the issue is that like I value this and I feel like that wasn't met, and you value this and you feel like that wasn't met. But when the people aren't like mature enough to get in that conversation with you, then this is the maturity piece. So I kept hearing the word maturity as well. And it could be loved ones you're having this communication with. It could be love interest. It could also be like again, people in your support group, people you pay services for. It could be like your business coach or a consultant or someone on your team. It's a lot to know that communication is so important, and to be at a level where one emotional maturity is not met, or just not being on the same wavelength, and recognizing, wow, maybe this person isn't on that wavelength either. That is a shock within itself. Why? Because when we're growing, we're either growing or dying, and Not everyone can come with you, but it's like taking that time to focus the energy on where you're going next and keeping aware of your next 5 moves. So I mentioned this man a lot because he is an incredible leader to me. And Patrick Bet-David also sent a text a couple days ago just reminding us not to focus so much on family and friends and why they think things are weird, but just to focus on what the next 5 moves are. And this is so important as we look to 2020. The holidays were a colossal mess. I mean, at the beginning of 2020, people are being triggered left and right. Environmentally, there's things going on with our planet, our mother planet, and we're spinning on a rock floating in the middle of outer space. I do want to say it's time to cause attention to things, but not to be in a place of extreme fear. I was also shown in a channeling, even now, El Nino. This was a serious, this was one of the worst tropical storms to hit, and it was really scary. It was a really hard time for a lot of people. This is not to undermine things, not to say that natural disasters aren't also situations that do occur when we're spinning on a rock floating in the middle of outer space. And we can still take care of our planet and one another. But inevitably, we are really experiencing many things that do happen in the universe that some of us cannot control. We can maintain, we can do our best to mow the lawn, but the truth is, if snow is going to fall, it's still going to fall, and you may still, the lawn may still be affected. So 2020 does feel like it's a colossal mess, with the wars, with strikes, with animals, with national fires, and weather changes. But it's important to know, with maturity, with leading by example, with meditation, this is the perfect time that for the next couple months to just hold on and to look at all of these things and recognize it's still a mirror. It's a mirror. A lot of times we're like, and yes, I'm going to get on a tangent because I'm talking to you. Everyone who's talking about, hey, I don't like Trump this, and oh, our president, you know what? We have to pray for this guy. I mean, honestly, Trump is a mirror. If there's something about Trump you don't like, there's something about yourself you don't like. There's things about people when they come into immature energies and angles, you wish that they could be more mature. But you're reminded, hey, there are some moments, maybe even in traffic, you are acting a bit immature. Waiting until a fight, to waiting until somebody says something, or several months later to communicate and then say, well, this is why that happened, may not be the most mature way to do it, but that's still a shadow. When you're jealous or upset with someone, this is a shadow. And this is what we're being faced to look. This is what we're being faced with, and we're being forced to look at this. It doesn't come from a painful place. Again, I made a trigger video talking about how we're all just leading each other home. It's not nice. And it doesn't mean that also, if while these things are happening, that it's the worst thing in the world to have happen. What this means is it's asking you, sometimes in order to really effectuate serious change, it's the situations have to be made drastic. And let me give you an example, or should I say a testimony. So when I was in law school and I lost my car, I had this really awesome BMW and I loved it so much, convertible 330 Ci. God showed me in a dream that it was going to be taken away. And I was like, I woke up, I was like, no, that shall not come to pass in the name of Jesus. I was really like upset, and it wasn't until it actually happened, another friend of mine from law school, I told her that, hey, like, I had a dream about this, and she was like, you should be praising God. What happens when we're shown these things means everything's going to be okay, but I need to show you that this is about to be a situation. So knowing it's a situation is kind of like, okay, things are covered. Had I not lost my car, I would have stayed in the US and felt like I still had to pay it off. Had I not lost my house, I would have felt like I had to just like still stay in Phoenix and live a life that other people wanted for me, as opposed to a life of me feeling as if I could just be free, whatever that meant for me, to express my divine femininity. And so as we're going through all of these changes in 2020, we're integrating both our masculine and feminine sides. And what came to me in the past channeling during the winter was the masculine side is mostly concerned about finances and making amends, being honest, being more available. And feminine energy is most connected with staying grounded and forgiving. And in order to have both of these places come together, things are going to have to shake up. Getting grounded and means like dealing with your home. My God, Gaia is a feminine planet. It's Mother Earth. So being grounded and stable is so important in taking care of bodies, and it's not just a New Year's resolution. I do want to say in 6 months, things can change. Things are really going to turn around. But in order for a serious change to happen, you're going to have to catapult a lot of the old stuff. So as we're coming into this new decade, it's not just now. So, Rosh Hashanah happened in September. This is the Jewish New Year. This time it happens this year. Chinese New Year is coming up. Everyone has a different timeline for a new year. It doesn't necessarily mean 2020 vision. Oh my gosh. I'm not saying that this is how things happen. I'm saying that it's a process. And in order to have some of the nicest things, we have to be willing to pay the price. Everything has a price. But what is being forced upon you, whether you want it or not, it can be an easy transition where you just say, okay, I'm going to go into the darkness, I'm going to look at the mirror, and I'm going to just deal with it appropriately. This, to me, ultimately determines how 2020 will be for you. When you see the mirror, is it going to be so, everyone is allowed to have any reaction that you will want. But when you see the reflection, is it going to be a reflection that you end up punching it in the mirror? Are you going to hug it and say, thank you so much for showing me this? It's so ugly, but I'm glad you showed me. Are you going to cry? The revolution that's happening is internal first. It has always been internal. And not just, hey, the revolution will not be televised by Gil Scott-Heron. This is just kind of like, the revolution will not be televised. It is something that happens within. It's a process that happens. And yes, what we see is a symptom on the outside. You see marches, you see protests. What are you protesting? Can you do more work personally than you could like with a whole bunch of people? It depends on the situation. But I was seeing that there was also going to be some kind of reform. And people are going to try to change things. And I want to just throw my 50 cent out here. If we remove and eradicate stuff like markers that happen. Let me give you like specifics. So there's a writing group I belong to, and everyone in the writing group is well past 60, maybe they're in their 70s, early 70s, and one of them is from Birmingham, and she was telling this story of, oh my gosh, she is so outraged, and she was down there with, burying her mother, and she couldn't believe they still have the, excuse me, I don't know what's going on. She couldn't believe that they still had the Confederate flag, and oh my goodness, there was the Rebels mascot, and wow, can you believe that? It's one of those things that she was just saying, can you believe that? She lived in it. It was comfortable for her to have this segregation. It aroused emotion, or can I say triggered an emotion that I was like, girl, you didn't try to do anything? And she just said, well, I was burying my mother. But interesting enough, she felt like it was so necessary for her to share it. But I just said, you could do something. And she was like, I didn't have time to do anything. I was worried about my own problems, not somebody trying to fix anything. And at that moment, I was kind of upset. And then I just sat down and felt like, you know what? It's probably one of the best things that she doesn't. I'm not happy that I want to keep these things as they are, but we have to. As humanity, I'm making this plea. We have to keep these artifacts here. Erasing it is a racism. It's, oh, what are you talking about? There was nothing. There was a woman who made this amazing American design. I think she had just turned 40 that year, and she spent so much time on this piece of art. She found on eBay that there were old enslavement cuffs that belonged to enslaved people. And just to hold that, knowing that all objects maintain memory, broke my heart. I just held it, and it was so much trauma inside of that. Somebody so innocent going through all of this. Can you imagine? So I thought, if they remove the Confederate flag, then what happens? People who don't understand where things are will just say, well, see, now there's nothing there. What are you afraid of? And people will still outwardly be this way, or it would be quieted. I want us to keep it. If we keep this serves as a reminder of humanity. Humanity is not just a monolith. That means it's not just one type. There's not everybody who's like love and light and hippie and kumbaya and like, this is not how humanity is. Humanity is sometimes war. And knowing that we are all one and everyone is interconnected, and we've experienced several lifetimes of different lives. We've experienced lifetimes where we've been to war. We've experienced situations where we've been burned in a fire. We've experienced situations where we were a woman. We've experienced situations where we were a man. We've experienced situations where we were killed, and we've experienced situations where we've killed others. So, and all types of crimes and experiences that it's not new to any of us. It's not new to our souls. So keep it. Keep it and focus on what it is that you can do for yourself. Whether you're you don't want these things to happen, or you want them to happen. If you want people to be divided, then okay. Whether you choose that or not, I'm still going to live my life, and whether I choose to do certain things, you're still going to live your life. Everyone has their choice, and it's all right. So the change I was seeing is like a bit of an upgrade, and I had been feeling almost like a birthing process. Something that is coming, something interesting is coming, and it's as a friend described, a very painful birth. I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and it was like the Ring of Fire, and I wanted to look that up because it was like almost the last push. This is it, everyone. Just hold it in, take a breath, and just, it's coming. Be prepared. Focus on yourselves. Do as much possible like deep healing and excavation and looking in the mirror and exercising compassion and doing what you can to say, okay, I know that that part was me, but I have genuinely learned the lesson and I don't have to learn it anymore. And I appreciate all of the people coming into my life to tell me all of this and showing me all of these things, but it is learned. I am done. Thank you so much. It's done. I can learn a lesson in a different way. And just by making that command, you will be very shocked at how many things start to change. And it's okay to like not cut people off, but just get a little bit of distance. It's not always 100% that everyone grows with you at your pace. You know, sometimes people have been ahead of you and then you got a couple, you caught up and you were a couple steps ahead of them. It doesn't mean that you had to cut these people out of your life. It's almost like when you went to college and some of your friends that didn't go to college or were still in high school, when you come back for the first semester for your winter break, everyone's kind of different. You don't mesh well with them. It doesn't mean you have to cut them off. You don't. It's just you're at a different place and so are they, and you give them their space and you can still be polite. So 2020 has a lot of surprises. It is a glorious mess, and it's beautiful because the mess happens within your own heart and soul and experiences and lessons you have to learn or wanted to make sure you needed to learn. It feels like a giant test. Somebody's going to try to make you come up out of your character. Try to keep it in. Try to like not get your buttons pushed, and so somebody can be like, see, I told you. But I mean, hey, like I said, we all have that. We all have those moments where we see shadow. And shadow is the side of you that's not always seen in light. For example, you may be so amazing and popular and funny and let somebody catch you on the wrong day and it just is a different story. You aren't that person and you don't like that reflection or that moment or that day. It happens. So it's the year of the giant. We have to lead by example, and we're not always going to be perfect. And it's important to recognize that and to just focus on our own maturity. Not so much what others are doing around us, but what we're doing within ourselves. Document it, share it, get in groups if you can, contact as many mentors as you can, find a support group, find peers, and find people who are going to benefit from you taking all of these leaps. For me, I also stayed inside. I was definitely very quiet and underground. That was really important for me because what I was feeling was a lot. I mean, there was so much energy running through my spirit that where I wanted to be out, I had to just kind of hermit. I worked myself so much to the point where I was exhausted. So here we go. You guys, we are all in this together, so don't you fret. Don't fret. Okay, all right. I think that's it. Maybe I could have held this video like this. Yeah, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out and subscribing and commenting and liking and sharing and visiting my other social media outlets. I didn't stay as plugged in over the break, but I very much did with different books. You can find me on Instagram, of course. Yeah, I will talk to you guys soon and have a happy 2020. Okay, bye.